Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined for this PGA Hump Day Wednesday weekly show by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the switch-hitting golfer, Mr. Andrew Hansen. How are you, sir?
I'm excited. It's time to play some golf in Vegas. So let's
Wow.
let's go to Vegas. Let's tee it up. We got some exciting pairings here this week with some of the big stars on the tour. We've got
Yep.
Bryson DeChambeau paired up with Matthew Wolff and the long-hitting Cameron Champ as one of the featured groups. And then we've got
Jeez.
Webb Simpson and Colin Morikawa in another group. So after the last couple weeks where it was sort of some mid-tier players, we get some stars back on the stage this week.
Thank goodness, man. It was getting tough. It was you're probably back in your zone for your quiz championships here now that we've got actual guys that we've heard of, for crying out loud. So yeah, it's a nice field. They're gearing it up again, and gotta love it. Should be good weather in Vegas, and the Shriners Hospital tournament goes back a while, if I could say it. So we've got some decent history to take a look at. So you want to give us a little scoop on the course itself and
Yeah,
what we're looking for here, because I know it's going to be those approach shots on the greens are going to be key. So
yeah,
what do you
absolutely.
got?
So
Yep.
it's the TPC Summerlin. They've played here since 2008, and it's a par 71, 7,255 yards. So not one of the real lengthy courses. We've seen a bunch of 74, 7,500 yard courses recently.
Yeah.
So it's not only about absolutely crushing the ball, even though we've got guys like Bryson in the field who that's what they do. But in terms of the actual layout, they're oversized greens here. So one of the things we dug in on was the strokes gained approach, because obviously if it's easier to get a green in regulation, you still want to be nice and close to roll
Right.
in those birdies because the scores do go low here. You'll see some guys shoot low 60s, deeper than 20 under for the tournament. So got to make some birdies, and ideally you got to hit it close.
Yeah, and nice thin air there. The ball's going to fly. It's going to be very interesting. But you're right. I mean, this tournament in particular, some of these guys, it's amazing. If they have an 80-foot putt and you give them the option of maybe hitting it out of a bunker that's right next to the green or a short chip, they would generally take the bunker shot or short chip because that's what they're so adept at and good at practicing. But when you have these 80-foot double breaker putts, that gets a lot of three putts that happen, and that's what they're trying to steer from. So I'm with you. I think, if we can hit the ball long, they're going to have wedges in their hand. If they can stick it consistently close, like you say, there's going to be some super low scores in this event. And I don't think it's the most important thing, as I was looking at a few stats, to be the best putter. I think, again, with the size of the greens and everything and the way that the course is designed, and really 7,200 and change is short for the courses that we see. So I think there'll be a lot more of this tournament focused on guys that are just going to stick it at the flag. So
Exactly.
yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's check real quickly the betus.com.pa stats. Give you a chance to redeem yourself after the crushing defeat last week. But we've got a real chalk city here in your man, steroid man. I shouldn't say that because we don't think he's on steroids.
No,
But
he's just a protein shake man.
there you go. Bryson DeChambeau is only plus 700, which is low, very, very low. So he's chalk city. Plus 900 for Webb Simpson, which is a great price. Low price. I think.
Right.
I don't know if I want that number, but I'll give you the other top tens because it inflates quickly, which is really weird. But it goes 1,100 for Patrick Cantley, up to 15 to Matsuyama. Then it jumps. This is where you probably can find a guy to put a couple of shillings on. Morikawa's 1,800, Jason Day 23, Harris English 23, Matt Wolff, the long hitter 23, and rounding out the top 10, one of your favorite players in history, Mr. Paul Casey.
Oh yeah.
He's only 2,800. He's more of a favorite than Fowler, Scheffler, Oosthuizen, Garcia. Don't play Garcia. God forbid he missed multiple cuts. How did he win that tournament? Do you have any idea?
He closed his eyes and putted, and it worked out.
Oh my gosh, I had that one coming. And then the last couple guys I'll just mention quickly. Zalatoris, who was the sweetheart for everybody, highly owned last week and missed the cut. He gets to redeem himself. Joaquin Niemann, and then it starts spreading out to guys. But this is the famous spot where you get to try to win your contest. 20 through 25 is that sweet spot we beat you in. And this time I think, we know all these guys. So let's say you only have to get 2 out of 5, and I'll give you 3 misses. So I'm giving you almost a mulligan here to get this back.
Okay. Well, how about 2-time former winner here, Kevin Na?
Correct. He is number 23 at plus 6,500, and he is definitely dangerous on this course. So you're almost in the bag already.
Well, looking at the DraftKings pricing, another guy right in that range, Abraham Answer.
You got it.
All right.
He is plus 6,000. Man, oh man.
Back on track.
Right back. Gee, sweep city. So it was Zach Johnson, Cameron Davis, Abraham Answer, Kevin Na, Brian Harmon, and big hitter Cameron Champ. So definitely a better 20 through 25 than last week, without question. All right. Let's jump into the first phase of this here. Let's look at a guy or two that's costly, but you're willing to spend up for that, you're looking as a possible anchor. Because I have 1 or 2 that I may play both, or one or the other. I haven't quite made the decision. And again, we're putting this out Wednesday morning, so we'll get this posted as quick as we can. And then you got to get these locked down. Get them in the morning if you're an early riser, because this is in Vegas. So you're going to have, let's see, the East Coast time, 6 a.m. So no, I would say be safe, get your contest reserved, and get those in tonight before bed. And we'll post our lineups, our final, coaches, core 4, and then our lineups for FanDuel and Yahoo in Discord this evening. So, all right, your chalk guys.
So yeah, at the top, there's 4 out of the top 5 in pricing on DraftKings. The guys I want to just discuss a little bit here: Bryson, okay, Webb Simpson, Colin Morikawa, and Patrick Cantley.
Yeah.
And these 4 are attractive for different reasons. If you look at the course history here, Bryson won here 2 years ago, and obviously he's coming off the win at the U.S. Open. So there you go. He's the chalk. He's the most expensive, lowest odds. So he's in the mix. You got to consider him. And then Webb Simpson is next, and he has also won here. And we know that on these quote-unquote shorter courses, not the extreme lengthy ones, he really comes to the top because he can dial it in and seek out those pins. So right, he's in consideration. Patrick Cantley, man, you want to talk about course history here. He won in his first trip. Then he's got another second and a second. So the guy, he just owns this course, but this summer has just been sort of so-so for him. He really hasn't been
flat. Yeah,
very flat. He just hasn't been sharp. So that's a real question mark. It kind of feels like a new season A
Yeah,
fresh
true.
start.
Yeah,
He was okay there at the end of the summer, but just he didn't spike anything.
yeah,
Uh, so maybe with a fresh start on a course that he has a lot of great memories on, he'll step back up. And then Morikawa, who he says he's played here a bunch. Um, and if you look at that strokes gained approach statistic, he's number 2 last year in that stat. So I
hmm,
like him, even though he hasn't played in competition here like these other guys.
yeah,
I think he'll be fine. So if you look at those top 4 and then actually try to make a decision, obviously I think they all could do it. But in terms of the pricing, I do kind of like how you save a little bit with Webb and then with Morikawa because he's cheaper than Cantley. And I just, Cantley for me is a little bit more of a GPP. Morikawa, I feel a little safer on just because of his recent form. So
sure.
although I'd like to be able to get there, uh, chance here with a fair amount of my lineups where I'll save the money on Webb and then also save money from Cantley and go down to Morikawa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the 4 key guys. I mean, to me, those are the 4 guys you have to really take a long look at, and that's why they're priced the 4 highest on both DraftKings and FanDuel. It's weird because, going into this end of this last golf season after they came back up from COVID, Patrick Cantlay possibly was like my favorite golfer going into that. I thought this guy is just, he's such a surgeon out there and he doesn't get rattled, for lots of reasons, statistically and everything else. I thought this could be breakout city. Rostered him a couple of times and he just, like we said, he just didn't get it done. He makes cuts, of course, and you see him jump up the leaderboard, get in that top 20, and then he just meanders around there and doesn't seem to get it done. But man, I would like to have him when he does decide to flip the switch. And now, with a week or 2 off here, actually 2 weeks since after the U.S. Open, man, the fresh start, feeling like it's a new season, his game, the crazy course history there. I mean, I know I'm the cash player here, but I think Cantley's still a great pick. He's my favorite guy. His irons are solid. He's long enough. Putting statistics, he's right up there. I really like him. I think that he's a solid pick here. The other guy for me that I'm looking at is Webb Simpson for the reason that you just gave, which is really a sharp take because Webb, the only time it seems like Webb struggles a little bit, it's when they play these ludicrous like 76, 70 yard,
Right.
600 yard, 640-yard par fives and all that craziness. And I think the last one had a 517 par four. I mean, what? So, this course definitely falls in his wheelhouse for his, what he gets done. So, for me on those top 4, I feel great about Cantlay. I love Simpson. DeChambeau, I'm not sure yet. Like you said, to be the highest priced guy, and I'll probably be the highest owned. The air is thin as heck in Vegas. The ball's going to fly, but I don't know. I just, coming off that U.S. Open victory and a couple weeks off, I just think maybe not the best time to take him. And, not playing Morikawa, I guess you have to shrug your shoulders because the dude is awesome and consistent. But I don't know. I mean, there seemed to be a small, tiny little decline in those last few tournaments to finish out the year. I think all that excitement, winning all that he did, I think it was just wearing him out a little bit. So maybe
Yes,
he needs a little rejuvenation.
exactly.
So we're right on the same. Those are certainly. I mean, I don't think it's a week by far that you can just eliminate, like I do a lot, those top price guys and build a good mid-level team. I think you need probably two of those guys, really, if you want to take something down. It's finding that value to be able to afford two of them is going to be a monster key.
Yeah.
But definitely. Before we get into the value, guys, which is your specialty, real quickly want to mention, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, please hit the thumbs up, give us a quick subscribe, and then hit the little alarm so it lets you know when all of our podcasts go up, not just golf, but basketball and football, etc. We really, really appreciate that. If you're listening to us on our audio podcast through Apple Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, and we're pretty much everywhere podcasts can be heard. Give us a 5-star thumbs up, a positive review. We really, really appreciate that. And, great time to join. Wednesdays are sort of the kickoff day of the week. I feel like it's the first day of the week for us because we have our doubleheader with golf and basketball in our podcasts. And now we've got the rest of this week is just going to be chock full of golf, NFL, MLB playoffs, which are really happening right now. And then, of course, the finishing up of the NBA Finals. So we are fired up here. So we would love to have you join us. You want to tell the crew here how to get involved with DFS Coach Talk?
Oh, yeah, it's really easy. Just go to our website, dfscoachtalk.com, and pick the length of time you want your membership to be, a week, a month, a year, or the fall special, which gives you a nice discount on our monthly price through the rest of the calendar year. And like we say, the great thing about our memberships is whichever one you pick, you still get access to all the sports. So you don't have to pick and choose. Just pick your length of time. We'll give you an email, get you right into our Discord in a few minutes, and then that's where we give out our lineup information. And like Coach said, great time to jump in tonight with everything coming in the next few days.
No doubt. And we're coming off a super hot night last night where we cashed in all our cash and GPP plays in basketball and baseball. So we're looking forward to following that up again today. Well, we already looked at the betus.com.pa odds for golf. So let's just quickly listen to our man with the golden voice here from BetUS. Here he is.
Wake up, sports bettors. Sports are in high gear at BetUS.com, so put down the beer and make every sporting event more exciting by putting stakes on the line at BetUS. Earn bragging rights over your friends as you rake in the cash from each week's betting action. But don't settle for any other book. Choose America's favorite sports book with over 25 trusted years in the industry, BetUS. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, but more importantly, you need a sports book that pays. BetUS has your game with action on football, baseball, basketball, MMA, golf, horse racing, and even esports. No other sportsbook welcomes newcomers like BetUS with their jaw-dropping sign-up bonuses. Sign up now with promo code CoachTalk for 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000. The best in the biz. Now you have the best book in the business with the best DFS provider in the business, Coach Talk. Create your account to make point spread bets, futures bets, prop bets, entertainment bets, live bets, and more. No other sportsbook is as committed to their members as BetUS. Sign up now and get in on the winning side of the ball.
All right. And definitely check them out with the golf wagering on there is phenomenal. You can do matchups, top 10, top 20. You can bet to win the tournament. You can bet it each round. So you got all kinds of options there. So definitely check it out. All right. This is the part that everybody waits for every week, every Wednesday, especially me. I've got my recorder out. I'm taking notes because Andrew is the champion of the value play in golf. And as we all know it, we can all pick the DeChambeaus, Cantleys, and Simpsons, but where our bread is buttered or our bacon is fried or our whatever we want to call it, it's right here. So Give us that Hansen value pick wisdom, if you would.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll work into it with the strokes gained approach stat. Okay. And then we'll finish with some value plays. So if you look at the stats from last year, last full season on the tour, strokes gained approach, guys here in the top 20 that are playing this week. We mentioned at number 2. Then we've got Russell Henley at number 3. He's a mid-tier guy, 8,400 on DraftKings.
He's been tough.
Yeah, he has. Hideki, of course, we know about his ball striking. He's one of the expensive guys. He's actually top 5 price on DraftKings. Webb Simpson, obviously number 6. We've talked about him. Here's one of the value guys, Cameron Trangali at 6.9. So
Wow.
get a guy, top 10 strokes gained approach, under 7,000. Finished tied for 37th last week. So he's in an okay form. You could look there. Our man Paul Casey, of course, top 10 in this stat. Doc Redman is in the 7,000s on DraftKings. He's number 11 in that stat. Last 2 tournaments.
I thought he was underpriced, didn't you? I mean, he had a good season.
Yep. Tied for 28th last week. And then the tournament before that, the Safeway, he was tied for 3rd. So I like that price.
Yeah.
Emiliano Grillo is 7,200 on DraftKings. Joaquin Niemann, 8,100. He's 15th in that stat. Came in 23rd at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Cantley, we mentioned already, obviously. So they're the guys in the top 20, and several of them are below 8,000. So you could look at those guys.
Right.
Couple course history guys I want to mention in the $7,000 range. Our boy Charlie Hoffman, 2 top 10s here, coming off tied for 6th last week.
Right.
Danny McCarthy, very similar, tied for 9th last year, tied for 6th last week. He can get the putter really hot. He's only 7,700. Yep.
He's a guy that flies under the radar that has game. He really does. I love that call.
JT Poston has a top 5 here. He was 3rd last week. He's only 7,700. A nice little combination there. And then for the real value plays, the guys in the 6,000 range, a couple that we haven't mentioned, Henrik Norlander tied for 4th last week. He's only 6,900. I think he's underpriced there.
I agree.
A real GP European, Francesco Molinari, who has not been playing much and has not been playing well. He's only 6,700.
Oh my God.
This is a guy who can take down a major championship, who, that price just doesn't match his talent. And so GPP, because he hasn't played well lately and hasn't played much, but wanted to mention him. And then
that dude can play even coming off being out. I'm going to do a little more digging on him because, watching that guy play in the Ryder Cup and stuff like that, I mean, he's got some, real intense game.
Yeah,
he's only 8,300, by the way, on FanDuel. So, I mean, it certainly gets your attention. I'm a little surprised, to be honest, that he's that low. But not to interrupt, but I just want to mention, I guess, the reason being is, he's been out for quite some time.
Yep.
And, he did play, let's see, the Safeway on September 26th, that be of last year? October. So February 20th through September 26th. So September 26th, he finished 23rd at the Safeway, and October 30th, 22nd. So that must be last year. So he's been out since February 20th of last year. So he has not played any competitive golf whatsoever since COVID. So that is something to be aware of. But again, some of that may be travel restrictions and all the other stuff that's gone on.
Yep.
But man, oh man, he literally is one of my favorites. Generally, whether, again, GPP play, because we just don't know what we're going to get. He could finish last.
Right.
But just on talent, man, I love that you brought him up because I missed it. I didn't see him. So I'm really happy that you brought that up because I'm gonna consider that for sure at that number.
Okay. And 2 more guys here. Brian Gay is 6,100. He finished 7th here. He has missed 3 consecutive cuts, so I don't love his recent form, but 6,100. You could look at that for a GPP. The guy I like a little bit more for only 6,000 on DraftKings. So absolute minimum price is our man Graham DeLette, who last time out for him was in the Punta Cana event. He missed the cut, but his final round he shot a 64. So you take that, he'd been out a little bit with injury. He's working himself back into form. Missed a couple cuts, but to shoot a 64, I think he's feeling good. 6,000, he kind of makes it work. He makes it a lot easier to get two of those top studs we were talking about.
Right.
So he'll be in some lineups for me as well.
Fantastic information there, and a lot of value this week, and a real low value. So, for me, with that knowledge now, the question is, I'm not a big Stars and Scrubs fan, but man, you have the opportunity to do that with this much value because, and I'll just throw a few names out there that stuck out to me in the value side because we didn't even talk about some of the same guys here, but there is some super value. Ricky Werenski's played good golf. He's down at 76 on FanDuel, and in that same range with him that I thought was a little low was Hudson Swafford and Mark Hubbard, who both have made a lot of cuts and been right in there. We rode that Scott Piercy quite a ways in a couple tournaments, and he's also priced very low. So those are some other names I wanted to throw in there that had some success, at the end of this last season, if you want to call it, however it rolls into this one, they're all sort of the same. And then the last guy I'll mention, because I want to get your opinion on him, because I've seen him play stretches of really good golf, and that's Nate Lashley.
Yeah, I like him. Guy who's actually won on tour. Yeah. And I believe he is in the $6,000 range on DraftKings. Super
cheap. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 7,100 is all on FanDuel. So, again, if you pluck out a Lashley and a Gay or a couple of those other just like dead min guys, then you start thinking, wait a minute, can I get 3 studs in here?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Lashley's only 6,300 on DraftKings.
Jeez.
And he came back onto the scene in that Punta Cana event. He finished 4th.
Yeah.
So he's kind of boom or bust, but again, like I said, he's got that top 10 upside that not a lot of these 6,000 guys have on a basis.
And I love that Carmen Trangali call too, because just his irons are like he's like a machine out there with his approach, and another super cheap guy. So I guess the takeaway here is, if you're playing cash games, you're going to have almost a little bit of a GPP build if you're going to go Stars and Scrubs. To me, based on what I've seen so far, the mid tier is just not that awesome. I don't see, those 8,000 guys being much better than the 6,300 guys. It's very similar. So I think if you pick the right ones, you can buy up with some of those big fellas, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. Some weeks it's like you look at the $8,000 guys and you can envision picking 4 of them.
Right.
And, but it just doesn't, it's not working out that way this week. So I agree. I like the other build.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, both the pricing on both of them, it's bunched at the top, and then once you get to the mid to lower, it's just sort of a mishmash. So I'm with you. There's a lot of times I'll just do a completely medium build because the group of guys can all win it. But I just don't do that, and I mean, if you look at some of these mid-price guys, I mean, why is Maverick McAnally so much higher than the other guys? And, Taylor Gooch, Harry Higgs, Adam Hadwin. I mean, Aaron Wise. When's the last time Aaron Wise played great? Those are probably the top 5 this week right there. But anyway, just to show you, I think the guys that Andrew mentioned and we brought up as value plays are just as good as that group. That's Aaron Wise is 8,600. I mean, I think there's a differentiation there in pricing that's a little different than normal. It's a good week to take advantage of it. So outstanding. Check us out, by the way, on Twitter throughout the day. We're all at DFS Coach Talk. I am at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. Andrew is at Language Olympic, and Shane is at DET Sports Shane. Comments, whatever, questions, let us know on Twitter, also on YouTube, where we answer all the questions on there. And I think that's pretty much everything we want to cover with golf this week. We're going to keep doing golf. So we know we have, it's not nearly as big of a group as like basketball and football, but there's a lot of golf folks out there. It is growing. And I think as some of these big events like the Masters come up in November, we're going to get a nice jump in our golf folks. So keep tuning in. Our charity of choice here is mambaon3.org. That's MAMBAONTHREE.org. And it's a fantastic charity that we highly recommend. All right. Any final golf words of wisdom, Andrew?
Yeah, thanks for joining in. And just make sure to hit that alert button, because we've got, in the next 24 hours, we've got our NBA podcast posting and 2 NFL podcasts coming up. So excited about the week, and appreciate all your support.
Fantastic. Really do appreciate it. We're excited for all this sports action. So definitely tune in again next week for the PGA Wednesday show. It's every Wednesday. And catch us later today, where we're talking some deep dive talk on the NBA game. It could be the closeout game.
Could be.
Yes, so we'll see. All right. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll be with you a little bit later today when we look to continue to crush it in DFS.